Yes, Aaron, it's true. Pharaoh has the power. He can take away your food. Yes, Aaron, it's true. That's Batman. Yes, Aaron, it's true. Pharaoh has the power. He can take away your food, your home, your freedom. He can take away your sons and your daughters. With one word, Pharaoh can take away your very lives. But there's one thing he can't take away from you, your faith. Believe, for we will see God's wonders. Moses, played by Val Kilmer, in the 1998 movie, The Prince of Egypt.
You know, you kind of said it. That was Batman. But which Batman was it?
Which Batman was it?
Christian? Was it Christian Bale Batman?
It sounded more like Christian. No, wait, hold on. I am Batman.
Or was it? Or is that kind of sounds like Lego Batman?
What's his name again? Who plays Lego Batman?
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. There we go. We digress so much, but that was the intro, and this is the Fiction Podcast. No, that's bad. Let's do it again. This is the Fiction Podcast with your host Frank and
Justin.
There we go.
That's perfect. That's so good.
Yeah, no, we are excited. We're back at it again. We are in season 4 of the Fiction Podcast. This is the ancient world. If you've been following with us, what we've been doing is we've been doing basically different movies, and we will do books that touch on the ancient world leading up to the release of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey this July 2026. We started out talking about the Iliad and the Odyssey, poems by Homer, and we've hit Troy 300, and now we're kind of staying in that ancient world, a little biblical times, going to the Near East, and we're talking about the Prince of Egypt. So we're excited to do this. This is a little bit different. We're picking up on animation. I don't think we've done many animated pieces, of any. I don't think we have. Graphic novels, yeah.
Not animation.
But yeah, so this is the first of that. So we both like animation, different. I lied. Take it back. Season 2, we did animation. We did The Incredibles. Incredibles 2. Yeah. How we forget.
There's been a lot of episodes between now and then. So
there has.
Bear with me.
That is true. But what we did was we wanted to do the Prince of Egypt for many reasons. We talked about it last week, but this is something that I think is nice because we're still sticking on the theme, right? We're talking about the ancient world, what it takes to be a hero, who is legendary, right? And you think about this story, talking about the Exodus story from, the Old Testament of the Bible, we're looking at a different type of hero figure than what we've talked about previously. And so we thought it'd be nice to touch on that. But
I also love when we were setting this up, when we were trying to go through and pick out different, whether it was books or movies or whatever to talk about, and we were looking for different things along the lines of the hero's journey and that were similar stories and ways to the Odyssey. What I loved about this was that probably all of us as people tend to look at the ancient world and think Greek and Roman. And you and I are very guilty of that, but that's because that's what we love and we studied. And so we get very passionate with it. Now, we did study ancient Egypt, but we never gave as much time when we were studying to Egypt as we did to Greece or Rome. And so I'm just excited that we were able to bring in a different area of still Mediterranean, but a different area. So we could just, get a little bit different settings. Little different views.
Yeah. And we'll continue to do that as the season goes on. We'll even extrapolate to not necessarily the ancient world, but a fictionalized version of an ancient world or a depiction of an ancient culture, right? So we're going to try and do that just to move around a little bit. But just as a reminder, right, there will be spoilers. We kind of look at this as like a read along or watch along with us. You've either watched or read the piece that we're talking about, and you're just sort of enjoying it from a different side, or you don't care. Spoil away. And you're going to want to go watch it after we talk about it.
This was a lot more fun when you just would dive right in and you let me just lean into it and give you a hard time.
It was more fun, but I figured, I'll be more responsible since we're in season 4, right? I don't know.
That's fair.
But we're coming to you. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us wherever you find your podcasts, mainly Apple and Spotify. if you like what you're seeing, you like what you're hearing, follow us, like us, subscribe. All of that really would help. And I'm putting the pitch in early. You can reach us at thefictionpodcast@gmail.com or at the Fiction Podcast on Instagram. Let us know what you're
Man,
thinking. We can still tailor season 4 to some things you might like, but looking at season 5 and 6 and beyond.
I mean, I respect the just you didn't even go for the whole sales pitch. You just went right for the closer,
Right in there.
and it's like you're asking for the money off the
Yep.
bat. Now, I will say that is a risky opportunity because you haven't even given them the full pitch of like, hey, listen to this episode, enjoy it, and then they
Don't
stuck
worry.
with us that far.
Don't
But,
worry. I'm gonna wrap it back in at the end too. They're gonna get 2 flavors of it. I've been listening to PBS, and I know their drives, and I know how they work, and it works for them. So
hey,
we'll see. No, I'm
hey.
just. But
I don't know if it's PBS, but we're here for viewers like you.
hopefully we don't get sued for that. But just joking. All right, so let's get right into it. What we like to do is we'll give you a brief summary. We'll keep it kind of spoiler free, and then we'll talk about some of the things that tie to our general big theme of the ancient world. We'll talk about world building, some of the key characters, and then we'll wrap it in to grading. But before we do that, what we'd like to do this time around, and for those who caught season 1, Justin and I have just not a hatred, just a strong dislike for the character Ron Weasley from the Harry Potter series. So we have the Ron Weasley Award. Again, we will continue that throughout season 4. So let's start with the summary.
Now, see, that's the pitch.
There we
Everyone's
go.
like, oh, I got to figure out who the Ron Weasley
Who is
Award
it?
goes
Who is it
to.
going to be?
I can't tell you.
Yeah. Do you want to do a brief summary? Do you want me to do a brief summary? Do you want to riff? How do you want to?
I think you need to do the brief summary.
Okay. All right.
You know, Frank, I have been up since 3 a.m. All right. You're doing the brief summary. I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing.
That's fair. Listen, so we're talking about the Exodus story from the Old Testament. The quick 3-4 sentence version is that Pharaoh was attacking all the newborn Jewish babies. This mother took a baby down a river. The baby was found by Pharaoh and his wife. They raised the baby. The baby found out that he was Jewish and his people were enslaved. God spoke to him, and the man went into action.
Yeah, you know what? That was like one of my summaries, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Well, there's really not much more to add to it, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
and you don't want to go too many spoilers.
No. And I think like people probably already know most of the spoilers already. It's a famous. I mean, even if you don't like religion or read the Bible, people know about Moses. I mean, you know enough about Moses. So with that being said, though, right? So we picked this, and it's an animation. It's a Disney. Sorry, not Disney. Hold on. Why'd I say that? Why'd I say Disney? DreamWorks. I always get them confused sometimes.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're right. It's
right?
DreamWorks.
Yeah.
It's DreamWorks.
It's definitely not Disney.
It's not Disney. You're right. We won't go there. Yes, it's DreamWorks. And so, but rewatching this, I have not watched this for a long time. This is a 1998 animation. The voiceovers, you're like, oh, these folks are so old. How? But remember, it's 1998. That was a long time ago. So they were like that old back then. But in rewatching this is not a kid's animation, as in like, it's not like a Y7 Disney or a G rating, right? But it's not an adult watch either, but there's adult themes. And so like I enjoyed it. Like, I mean, I don't think it's the best thing I've watched, but I enjoyed it. But I guess I would just start with like, we both were like thinking of this, like this is something we can do. Why do we think this would still be in people's sort of like inner picks for like a good movie 20, 30 odd years later? And are you turned off, or does it work that it's sort of not, it doesn't fit in a kid's genre, but it's not quite like an adult epic?
No, I think it's fair. I think there's a lot of questions in that one question that you meant to mention to go through. First, I think it works. We're still talking about it, and we're doing it just because this story is told over and over and over again. Whatever religion or belief you may be, whoever's listening. First, I am not a theologian. Just let's all keep that straight. All right. I'm going to do my best, but I'm not. But religion plays a major part in our world today. With everybody, somehow it plays a part in the world. Maybe you personally, someone you know, just out in the world, there's a lot of decisions that are made in the world based on religion. And so I think any story that has to do with it, especially one as large as this is still going to be relevant today. I also think that animation has the ability to a longer staying power. So as long as the themes are there and it was a good animated feature, I think that has a longer staying power than say an action
That's fair.
film or a sci-fi, because AI is, yes, like animation has gotten maybe better,
Yeah.
maybe not, to be honest. But we have, there is animation from, I mean, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. These all still hold strong, and the animation is excellent. And they were from '94 and earlier. And so I think animation has longer staying power if it is a good film. And it's got good music and good artwork. So I think that, and that, to me, that's the staying power that it has. That's why we're able to still watch it today and be like, okay, take it this way. And I completely agree with you. I don't think it's hard to say it's not like a young child's movie, but it's also because it's animated. Maybe it feels like it shouldn't be a full adult
Mm-hmm.
movie because it's not done like a graphic novel. Uh, so it's kind of in that in between. But it's got really great music and excellent animation, and so I think children can enjoy it and learn the story of Moses and learn this story, and they can take it for what it is at the very top level. But then older, you know, teens, adults, whatever, can still watch it and get deeper meanings
Mm-hmm.
from it as they watch it. And so I think it's kind of hits a lot of ages. I wouldn't say it's not something I would show to like my toddler, but if I
Sure.
had one, but
Got it.
yeah,
Got it.
exactly.
I,
But
I won't do
I
it. I
think
won't do it.
I do think thank you. I do think it can span a lot of age gaps.
Yeah.
So
No, I do. It's funny you mentioned the music aspect of it. I am so removed from this movie that like I like the Prince of Egypt soundtrack. The soundtrack.
mhm.
I still to this day sing "Through Heaven's Eyes" by Casey and JoJo. Casey and JoJo, ooh, they killed it.
Case of JoJo, oh,
They killed it.
so good. I yeah, they're so
They're
good.
so
I
good.
don't even know where to go.
But watching the movie, like, Danny Glover is the one who sang that. And I'm like, Danny Glover, no, not so good. So like the
Yeah.
songs are great, but I would say like the one thing that, because again, the soundtrack is really cool to me. Like listening from the movie to the soundtrack is a different experience. But
Yeah.
like you said, I love what you said about this resonates because the animation itself, like even older animation, unless you go into the 50s and like those are a little bit weird. But even like yeah, like you said, the 90s, the 80s, the 2000s, they're similar. Obviously, Pixar and them like they kind of changed the animation and how they portray it and some of that
Yeah.
stuff, but it still works. It's timeless, and voices are timeless, right? Like Val Kuma, rest in peace. He was 65 when he passed. He was 30 something when he did this. His voice is timeless. He's always going to be 30 something when
Yeah.
he did this. And in watching it again, just Val Kilmer, Ralph Fiennes, I'm sorry, Ray Fiennes, Ralph Fiennes, yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock. We got Jeff Goldblum. We got Danny Glover, Sir Patrick Stewart. Like, and then you got like the little guys, not little guys, but they had a little side role, but they were awesome. Steve Martin and Martin Short. Like
Yeah.
you've got all that. And I forgot Helen Mirren. I mean, you can't forget her. She's amazing. So it's just a great cast. So I think that is just something that, you could tell when you have that many amazing actors in one piece, they saw
Yeah.
something in it, right? So I think that's always there. Like you said, the story is important from a biblical perspective and things like that. So I think that does sell. But at the end of the day, I do think it's about two brothers, which is nice the way they played that just juxtaposition between the two brothers and their upbringing and their final decision making. And I think that really is probably what drove this animation, not necessarily the biblical verses of the Exodus. Well, a quick question. There's two brothers, right? So we got Moses and Ramses, right? So Moses supposed to be the protagonist, Ramsey, antagonist. who's the tragic hero here? Is there a tragic hero? Are we continuing like the Homer's tragics
It's
tragedies? Sorry, tragics.
I don't know if it's a tragic hero. I think the the tragic story for me is Ramses. I think it's just it's tough. You watch it and he doesn't go through the same transformation that Moses does. And so you don't quite get the growth of the individual. He doesn't have that opportunity to grow. He's
Mm-hmm.
thrust in this position, he's raised in this position, and that's just the step-by-step process that happens, and he goes through it. Whereas Moses has like a growth period where he learns and he experiences and he has these moments where his character actually has the opportunity to, we'll say, even flourish or come into his own. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think for me it's tragic that Ramses doesn't get that, because I think that's just a very important part of life, right? Evolving and becoming a better version of yourself. And he doesn't get that opportunity because of the role he's put in. And so for me, I think that that's that's what makes it. And he doesn't have the opportunity to have the same experiences that
Mm-hmm.
Moses does. So it's kind of sad or tragic that he doesn't get to go through that, because he now it's not like, oh, feel so bad for the pharaoh, right? It's like this poor guy, right? It's not really a poor guy, but that's like, I'm not saying that, but I'm like, man, right? But in the end,
Yeah.
without giving all away everything, that's why his character is the way he is. It's because he didn't get those opportunities.
Yeah.
I guess if I have to try, if you're gonna make me pick a tragic hero, or not even a hero, a tragic character, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think they're both. I think they're. I mean, like the Bible kind of depicts it a little bit differently, right? Like it's very. You don't get to see the emotions and things like that about the humanistic or humanizing things like that. But like, you have to feel for both of them. I mean, I look at Ramses and I feel that you've got someone who's trapped by inheritance. He's trapped by expectations. Like he has to live up to the name of a god. He is a living god. He's an embodiment of his people. And for all he knows, right, these are just slaves. They're supposed to do our bidding and they're not Egyptians. Like, I care about my Egyptians, right? And his dad, obviously, literally, he was baby killer number one, right?
Yeah,
And he kind of ingrained that into him. And so here comes Moses, his brother, who says, let the slaves go. And he's like, I can't continue to be an F up. That's basically his whole thought, right? If I do that, I'm going to be the downfall of my whole civilization, right? Whether it's right or wrong. So I think you feel that with him. And obviously towards the end, you feel sort of more the anger and rage that he has about what happened, right? And so he took to do what he did based on losing a loved
yeah,
one, right? And I think that's a hard thing to look past. And I would just say with Moses, I mean, honestly, what he had to do as the messenger of God has to hurt. Not just on a grand scale of what he had to do, right? Like we all know the story of the
mhm,
Passover and all and everything else, but in this story, right, they at least make him close to Ramses, and he takes Ramses' beloved precious child, right? And like but he's doing it through his God. So seeing that happen, even though his people are free, you got to imagine like the toll and like there wasn't like really war battle scenes, but that's the battle scene, right? That's the PTSD, right? Like
yeah,
my people, we won the war, we won the battle, but my gosh, what did I do to win? And can I live with myself going through that? And
yeah. At what
at
cost?
what cost? And we kind of see that warring through him from sometimes in the end of the movie, but then obviously it's more joyous. But I think, I mean, if they did anything, they did a good job of kind of painting sort of the dark and the light, and even making the light seem a little bit dark. So I thought that was good.
So, I mean, the animation is phenomenal
Yeah.
from that angle.
So we have Moses as the hero, right? Like he's different than what we've talked about.
Mhm.
Is this more believable for you? Is this more like, yeah, this is, or talking to a burning bush isn't I mean, like, I don't, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, we're taking. That's right. I'm going to take the animation. I'm going to go with the animated film that we watched.
yes,
That is, I'm
yes,
sticking to that.
that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, Frank. I do think when you compare him to, it depends like what you consider a hero, or what, all the other heroes, using quotes, that we've talked about. Um, but yeah, I think he's the more believable hero than like this superhuman strength of, or athleticism, whatever we'll call it, of Achilles, right? Or the incredible intelligence of Odysseus and his ability to work with the gods, and I just think I just think Moses just seems more in this film more relatable as a human. Like he has an arc, he's a character arc. He goes through his ups and downs. And it's not like just personal glory. It's probably more it's a less romanticized
Mm-hmm.
version of a
Mm-hmm.
hero. But I definitely would consider him a hero. I think you have to. It's slightly different than some of the other heroes that we've talked about, or Leonidas, right? It's not this. I think when we say the word hero, I think that like the idea of superhero culture
Yeah.
has probably like affected us in that realm, where we expect some like crime fighting, or some bad person, bad awesome person. See, I caught myself. I caught myself. I'm not going to fall into it. I'm not going to give you the the satisfaction of me saying a word.
Okay. Okay.
And but we expect someone that is just like this unbelievable, physically imposing fighter that does all of this stuff. And I think that that's probably affected what we look at it. But no, I definitely think he's a more relatable hero to most, because it's not like he has superhuman strength, or I mean, he probably internally has a very big superhuman strength that is him. But no, I'm not even saying the agent as in being the agent of God. I am
Okay.
saying just the strength to stand up and say what he does. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
that itself is superhuman. But I don't know. I think he's a hero. I just think it's at a different level than a lot of those other, what we stereotype typically say
Yeah.
is a hero.
I mean, he's like, I mean, you say not superhero culture, but I mean, he's kind of like a Doctor Strange in a way. Like, he's got a staff doing all these mystical, magical things. I mean,
Well, I was about to ask a question about Doctor Strange, but it's going to take us down such a far rabbit hole. We're going to leave it alone. We'll come
okay.
back. We'll come back to that
Okay.
at some point. We will talk superheroes, or we will talk Marvel, and I will bring my questions up with Doctor
Okay.
Strange.
Okay. That sounds good.
We
That
got a
sounds
lot of
good.
questions.
No, I mean, like, I agree. I think he's a hero in a different sense than what we've talked about in our last couple of renditions of what a hero is. But I do, I do think like the qualities of what makes a hero, like he has that internal fortitude, and all the others have as well too. They just have like the external, like superhuman fighting abilities and skills, and
Yeah.
he has a staff that's endowed him with the ability to bring locusts or frogs or all the other things that he does. But honestly, though, man, like the one I had a question that I kind of wanted to ask when we were talking about him versus Ramses, and you kind of answered it. So feel free to say that you've answered it. But like,
Yeah.
I'll go with my answer first and see if that changes your
Okay.
thought. But like, the question I had was, does Moses win or just lose differently than Ramses? And again, it's can't. This is one of the things I think the movie does relatively well. And if someone thinks not, please feel free to correct, send a message, but I think they handled this sensitive subject pretty well, as a animation that's, not meant to dive into it like really deeply, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you're talking about something in enslavement and a whole race of people, and you're talking about that, and you're weighing the pros and cons of the enslaver, right? So I I think they did a decent job of doing that. So at the end of the day, do the Jewish people win? Yes, right? They are free. And we know what happens from the Bible. They wander the desert for 40 plus years and all that stuff. But in the moment, though, did Moses win? I don't know the answer to that. I think that's sort of like a depends maybe, because I still think that he has a connection to Ramses and his
Hmm.
20, or I don't know how many years the book or the movie had him living there. So I do think that that last task that he was asked to do does eat away at him, right? So like I don't know, at the end of the day, like, is that the mark of not a hero? But we've seen heroes do things in the past works that that do call for them to kind of check their conscience. So that's the only question I asked, just because I know it's weird asking that question. You're like, they were freed. How did they not win? But I just feel like the character, because it felt like a two character dive into Moses and then a little bit
Right.
into Ramses. So that I just wanted to bring that up before we left that subject.
No, I think you bring up a great point. And yes, the Jewish people won, right, for themselves because they got it. They were freed. But I think that the answer for me would be yes and or yes, but at what cost?
Okay.
So it's like and that's a I can't use that analogy. But it's like but it's like what do you sacrifice to get there, right? Like you do sacrifice something, what great athletes sacrifice their time or sometimes relationships or friendships because they get a super hyper focused or obsessed with something. You know, Achilles became a hero, but what did he sacrifice? He sacrificed long life, right? There's a
Hmm.
sacrifice. At
Hmm.
what cost? And so I think Moses, yes, he came out victorious in what his goal was to do, but at what cost? And it probably maybe not his eternal soul, but it probably his mortal soul now has to live with the consequences of the actions. And even though it was what he felt was the right thing to do, or what had to be done in order to save all these people, he has to wear that yoke or carry that weight for the rest of his mortal life. And so I think that and probably even immortal life, but it's like yes, and it's I think you're right. I think bringing it up was we needed to because there was a toll that he was gonna that's gonna there's something that's gonna be
Yeah.
played on
Yeah.
his shoulders for life.
That was a good answer. I really like that answer.
I'm
I
here for something.
no, I think it's good. I think it's good. And like in sort of like continuing that theme that you mentioned, like of him and having to carry that with him the rest of his mortal life, like what did he sacrifice? And I think that's a good point. Like you have to sacrifice something, right? Like nothing comes for free. Like that there always is a bill comes at the end, right? It always comes, right? So I think that is an important.
or or it comes during, or there's always a bill that has to be paid. But I mean, like, it's like it comes at the start. Like I said, like as an athlete, you pay your dues and you're always paying your dues for your career, but
Yep.
you don't get to the championship and get there without what you have to put in. But there's always a debt to be paid,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Honestly, speaking of that, like I know this is a bad segue, but I feel like a proud dad here. Like I have to say, last week, you said like all the bill comes early for athletes and things like that. My favorite English football team, soccer team, Arsenal, they spent 3 years coming second, second, second. They worked
Oh my
through it. They
god.
did it, and finally, finally this year they take down the giant that is Manchester City and they win. So they paid that bill. So
You
just
done? Are you done? Are you done?
yeah, I'm good now. I'm good now. But no,
I don't know how you managed to work that into this conversation, but I am disgusted.
listen, listen. You told me, Justin, there's always a way to work anything and you just say it. So
Get ready because I've been trying to have a serious conversation here, and I've had quotes from Always Sunny coming up in my mind I could
listen,
throw in
listen.
there. Oh,
We were
I could
having
take this off the rails.
we were having a very serious conversation, and I just realized in my mind, I was like, wow, this is really deep and serious. And I just needed to cut it just a little bit before we went right back in. So it's just like a cool color commentary. Now we're going to dive back in. But I forgot where I was, but I will say this.
I'm sure you did. I am sure you did.
We're talking about what makes a legend, right? What makes a hero. And sometimes it's not always the strongest, right? We've talked about the strongest with Achilles. We've talked about the smartest and kind of the strongest with Odysseus. We've talked about just the bravest and maybe the stupidest with Leonidas. I kid. Seriously, seriously. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't think stupid
no,
is
that's
the right
that's
word.
that's not the right word.
Is it the hubris? Is it the,
I think they all had hubris. I think all the heroes
Yeah.
we've talked about had a little bit of
It's,
hubris in them.
I know, but I'm saying Leonidas, like,
Yeah.
just walked to his
Yeah.
own demise.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was his choice.
But so I think with Moses, though, I think the biggest strength for him was just that he was a normal dude through and through. Moses was plain. I wouldn't say vanilla, but kind of like vanilla chocolate mixed together. Like he was just a plain dude who got a message from God, and he basically did a 180 in his life, and he brought hope. Right? He brought hope. I think that the quote I read when he was speaking to Aaron, his brother, that was the moment where the Jewish people saw him as the hope bringer. Right? They saw him as the messenger. They saw him as their light, their way out, the human personification of their God delivering them, from the Egyptians, right? So I think that's his power. That's his superpower. That's what he brought. And that's through just a life of perseverance and having faith, right? So it's nice exploring just a different hero schematic that still plays with the ancient world, right? Because we've got, the Bible, the Old Testament was written, and won't say similar times as the Iliad and the Odyssey, but similar-ish if we're just gonna like put them like in the same bracket. So it's good to see different like hero types, right? So that was fun. But before we get to two fun segments, we should spend a little bit of time, because you mentioned this, talking about the world, at the animation, how they put it together. Like, what did you like? Is there any things you wish they did better? Like, how did you like view like the world building itself?
So one thing that I had in my notes to talk about, and kind of, so I'm gonna throw it in here, was when I first saw this, I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I wanted it to be, I wish it had been Disney. Like that's how, like,
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I like Disney. I grew up liking Disney. So I wanted it to be a part of that catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Disney would have done it justice or would have done as good a job as DreamWorks did. I think DreamWorks had to have this film because I think they did it right. It's if you'd have given it to Disney, it would have been Disneyified or whatever, however you want to call it. So I think it was with the right I think DreamWorks was the right company to have it. And so, I think it starts out just really, really well. And I mean, I really liked, it's such a small scene, but like the basket scene when he's floating down the river and you see the alligators and the crocodiles and the hippos and the boat and all of this stuff. And you just see that scene. It's a very beautiful scene, even though it's kind of like wild and chaotic and scary or whatever. I just think it was really, the animation wise, I thought it was really beautifully done. And it was in a style that Disney never would have done it. And I'm using them as the benchmark because frankly, they are the benchmark with animated films. So I thought it was just done extremely well.
Okay. I won't disagree about Disney being the benchmark, but I will say that they may not be the leaders in animated film currently. But I would agree.
I would agree with you on that.
Okay.
I would agree with that. But I think that they're the
benchmark. Yeah.
Animation. That doesn't mean they try to be the same. It doesn't mean they try to have the same animation.
Yeah.
It just means
that's
their track record proves
no. I totally agree. And I think they've pushed animation, to allow people to.
It's like people use Manchester United as the benchmark in the EPL. It doesn't mean they're on top right now because Arsenal is. But they are the benchmark. You see, I just worked it in there for you. So Arsenal's on top. You see how I just worked that in? That's how you work it in.
I did. I see.
That's how you work it in. That's how you work it. That is how you work in an Arsenal comment.
Okay. Calm down now. Calm down.
I did it for you.
You did it for me. I appreciate you. No, I agree with you. I think.
Hold on. Sorry, I pause. I don't mean to interrupt, but I did it for you, and I did it for both Nicks, and I did it for Jeff.
There you go.
And I did it for Caleb.
Yeah.
Put it in for all those guys.
Yeah.
Sorry,
don't forget JB and yep.
JB. Yep. Just keep it going.
Yep.
Did it for all those guys.
Yep.
Not just Frank. All right.
Darren,
Congratulations.
old friend from the Eden Prairie world, did it for you too. Should I just stand up here and just like say
Hey,
hi? Like, you know,
I just
thank you,
I
thank
just
you.
say
I like to
congratulations.
thank the
All right.
Academy. I like to thank the EPL. I like to thank my friends back in England who knew that I liked
I
Arsenal. I like to thank all my friends at DePaul who knew Arsenal could win one day. Like,
there you go. Great. There we go. We got it in.
the song is coming on and they're cutting off my
Is
mic.
that out of your system yet? It's my fault.
Are you
It's my
kidding
fault. I
me?
brought us back.
This is never going to be out of my system.
I brought it.
Like
I brought it back.
you did.
I brought
That
it
was your
back. I
fault.
should not
That
have.
was your fault.
But I did do it. That was a transition.
That
All right,
was a good
sorry.
transition. No, we're building. Yes, I think as far as animations go, they have so much license to create wonders. Pun intended. I wanted to link that together.
I like that.
You see, but
I
like
that.
I agree with you. This is even watching it now. It's a different animation style. It's not. It's not. I'm like I can't really pinpoint like where it's most prominent. Like even because this was 1998, and even in 1998, like I can't say like I saw a lot of animation styles similar to this piece. And then past that, you've
Yeah.
got The Incredibles, where there was like they switched the animation style a little bit, and DreamWorks did it, Pixar did it. Like so, and then you got Coraline, which had like the whole like stick fit. Like it was just a little bit, it's a little bit
Yeah.
different. So
It
this
was a
was
little more Nightmare Before Christmas. A little more
exactly.
Tim Burton-esque.
Tim Burton, yes, check, done. So like this was a little bit different. I did enjoy it. I did think it was well done. I think it doesn't age it too much. I don't think you can say it aged it too
Yeah.
much. Desert scenes, desert scenes, desert scenes. That's what we got. So I think it was just like I would say it's the emotions. I don't know. Like I felt I got good emotion from the depictions of the characters. And I'm biased. I love these characters. Like even Danny Glover. I haven't seen the man do much recently, but I used to love Danny Glover
been a
back in
while.
the day. Like I said, I love Steve Martin Short. I love all of them. So it's just nice seeing them again, right? So that was well done. What they could have done better, honestly, it's not really the animations for me. It's more, again, it's not Disney, but I would have liked the soundtrack and like to mirror better with the animation because the soundtrack itself is gorgeous, but just not the score or
Yeah.
or how it was played during the movie itself.
And you know what? There we go. There's your benchmark because I think Disney does that extremely
They do that really well.
And so they interweave the music with the film
Yeah.
as it's going. And
Yeah.
I think that you know what? You could have asked me. I said, I don't think there's a whole lot you could have done better. But then now that you say that,
Yeah.
I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I fully agree with what
Yeah.
you're saying.
And it could have enhanced it or it could have dropped it. Because again, it had a different vibe for, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. We have this thing. It's called the Ron Weasley Award. I will let you do the honors because this is your award. This is yours.
All right. Now, I love this award, but you came up with this idea. So let's be clear. It's a combination of our awards.
Okay.
So it was your idea. So this award goes to the person that we feel was the most, and you know what? To really understand this, you need to go back to season 1 and listen to a Ron Weasley episode. Okay? That's just what it is. It's someone that just irks me or annoys me specifically throughout the entire movie, or for part of it that I'm like, you're being such a Ron Weasley. It's just really grinds my gears. And this was hard for me.
It
because
was.
I didn't like, I'm really on a stretch here and I am going to get raked over the coals for my choice, but I'm going to still go with it.
Okay. What you got?
If I have to pick someone, because we have to pick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna give a name.
Yeah.
Miriam. I'm going with his sister. I was
Sandra Bullock. You're going with Sandra Bullock?
Hold on. You could throw a dart at any of these characters and get a famous person. So let's be clear. It's not just Sandra Bullock. It
sounds like it's Sandra Bullock.
It is, but it's not. Okay. So hear me out.
Okay.
This is how I got to this.
Okay.
Was her character as we'll start as with young Miriam and the whole intro, and she chases this basket down the river, watching her baby brother almost get eaten by crocodiles, which before those came on, I was like, where are the crocodiles? I was like, come on.
And
this
there you go.
basket's not going to make
There
it.
you go.
And then the hippos showed up, but she's still running along the shore. Let's be clear. Both those animals are in the water and on shore. Like, she's perfectly fine running through the weeds and doesn't have a care. And then there's like these giant boats, doesn't see it. And somehow this child has the ability to follow this basket down the river all the way to the Pharaoh's palace, where they sneak into the Pharaoh's palace to see that her baby has been saved by, the Pharaoh's family.
Okay.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And then, see, let me get going. And then when she sees Moses and they run into each other for the first time at the well, she's like, you came back, and like assumes that he knows this and will not stop berating him that, like, oh, you're coming back. It's like, you got to give the guy a second to put it all together, because it's not clicking yet. He doesn't know, and she just won't relent. Now, I'm glad she whacked him over the head with the stick, so to speak, so that like he figured it out and realized who he was and needed to learn the story. But she went a little over the top with it. So
Okay.
I have to give my Ron Weasley Award to Miriam.
Okay. AKA Sandra Bullock. Got it. Listen, Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next topic.
Wait, no. Who's yours? Who's
Wow,
yours?
The blast of your audio there just got us. No, I agree with you. This one is actually funny. There isn't one that I would easily identify. We've gone through movies and books where I'm like, there's like 10 Ron Weasley Awards, right? So this one is also a stretch. I'm stretching along with you. I'm actually going to go with Aaron. I'm going with Aaron. Jeff Goldblum's character. Yes, I'm picking Jeff Goldblum. Listen. For those who follow the Bible, Aaron has his problems. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to listen. Challenge me. I want you to challenge me, right? I just said it right now. Challenge me. But in the movie itself, Aaron, dude, Aaron, look at me. Dude, calm yourself down. The first time you met, he's just like, he's the prince. Sister, get away. Like you said, she went too far. He went too far in the opposite direction, right? The next time we see the dude, he's like blaming him for their life crises and all that stuff. And all he's trying to do is now help him. He finally has faith when they're winning. And then at the end, when they're like saved and they're across the river, he's like, oh, my man, Moses, woo, we bros, right? We bros. So you know what, Aaron? You should have had more faith. You should have believed in your sister more, and you should have calmed down. So I'm stretching. I'm stretching.
We got a pattern.
We needed them to be more in the middle. We needed just to be a little bit in the middle. But no, it's just funny because, like, obviously, Jeff Goldblum voiceover was great. But yeah, Aaron he had to be every man. He had to do everything that everyone could, like, he needed to be the voice of the Jewish people, how they felt. And he did it, but like, it was just sort of like, he's not doing anything against you. Like, he saved your sister.
Yeah.
So it was if I had to pick, because we have to give an award. It's always a Ron Weasley Award. So Mary, okay,
that's fair.
Okay, now let's get to it. We're gonna grade this baby.
Oh wait.
Oh,
I
no.
do have something I
Oh, you
want to
do?
say. I was
Okay.
waiting until you got there. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to, I think is actually my favorite character. I just want to give a shout out because we have not done her justice. And I think it's, for me, it's Zipporah.
Michelle Pfeiffer, huh?
Yeah, I really loved her character. Just everything that she didn't just roll over when she was captured. She found a way to break out. She stood up for herself. She showed Moses the way. She believes in him, supports him, goes with him, like does all of that. And I thought she was a very powerful character for a very minor role that she had in the film, and she could, the lines and all of that. I just thought she was an awesome character. And so I just wanted to give some flowers out that she might have been my overall, like, just favorite character.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Listen,
I just had to get it out there.
I don't disagree with you. Michelle Pfeiffer played. Her voice was great. Zipporah was great. The whole time you're saying that, and as I was watching, all I could think of was Igrete in
Game of Thrones.
When it's like Ygritte. Let's say Ygritte. Yeah, Ygritte. You know nothing, Jon Snow. That's all I was thinking. Like, you know nothing, Moses. Like, she.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, that's kind
Pretty
of
much.
what I was thinking. Um,
Yeah.
all right,
Okay.
okay, now we get to it. Now we get to it. So we get to grade this movie, and we have a tough scale. Uh, we ever since we were young bucks, back at DePaul University, Justin first. I'm younger. Just want to make sure I said that. Uh, we were classical
Thanks, Frank.
studies majors. Yep. And we both had Professor Guinea. And Justin says it best, but I'm stealing it today. Professor Guinea said, a C, my friend, that's good work. That's exactly where you need to be. Anything better than that means you're doing really good. So B is really good. A is outstanding. C minus D, you're just not quite hitting that good work. But C, not B, C is good work. That's stuck. We
I,
both like that.
I feel like you're foreshadowing. You're really putting pressure on that C.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
You are reading into me here. Okay. So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Eh, you go ahead.
All right. Well, I wasn't foreshadowing, but I kind of was, but I wasn't. But I will say though, I struggle because this, like I told you from the get go, this did not feel like a kid's movie.
Hmm.
But it was only an hour and 37 minutes. And I say only an hour 37. A movie probably shouldn't be more than an hour, 2 hours. But it wasn't long enough to really get into the weeds of the entire story to get you emotionally and like really invested as if this was like sort of an adult story, right?
Yeah.
Even from the get-go, like you see the slaves at the beginning and it's like they're showing you some like people who are downtrodden. Like it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
a quote unquote Disney. Um I struggled because I didn't find a place where it really fit. I knew the story of Exodus, and I think people, if they didn't know it, it's a interesting introduction. I think for a kid, not like a toddler, so I would not be showing it to my toddler, but for like a kid, I think like it might be a way of like, here's the story. We could talk more about it later, kind of thing. And I did like the mix between him and so him being Moses and Ramses. I did like that dichotomy,
Yeah.
but it didn't play out as emotionally invested as I would have wanted from a not kid story. But I did like the visuals. I did like, as much as I whined about it, I did like the music. I did like the voiceovers. So I thought they did a good job. So I'm actually going to go with a C plus.
Okay.
Mm,
All right. I find that very interesting. Had you asked me when I first saw this, like whatever it was, almost 20 years ago, when I first saw this, I was, like I said, I was super wish it had been in a Disney catalog. I
yeah.
liked it that much. I was really all about it. Really, really thought it was well done. And I still think it's well done.
Yes.
I think it is slightly more well done than what you gave it.
Okay.
But I wasn't like if you'd asked me, I think 20 years ago, I'd have been like, "Oh, this is like an A minus movie. You definitely have to see it." I probably would have said something like that and been like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it was very." And now watching it again, I had it at a B minus,
Okay.
and so I mean, I think it's definitely better than an average movie. The music's
Concur.
very good. The
I concur.
animation's good. I was probably borderline, like, and I just went one way and you went the other. So, but I think it's better than an average, just a good movie. But it's not a really good movie. It's not something that I'll be honest. If you want to see it after this conversation and watch it, you're not going to waste your time. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, you have to see this movie. I'm not going to say that.
I agree. I agree. That's kind of what I was too. I like I when you told when you said should we do this movie, I was like yes, because I had the same picture that you had too, and I think yeah, I think looking at it now, I'm like okay, but I agree with you. It's worth seeing if you haven't seen it, but always like for me, like I like to know so my expectations are not
Yeah,
outsized. So I think it's definitely worth seeing, but just have a good expectation
I'm
about it.
I'm the same way, and I think the problem here was that my old self hyped it up more than
Yes,
so then when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, this is not how I remember this being.
yes, yes. I totally agree. I totally agree. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's good. Prince of Egypt, check. This is my movie voice now. Few movies balance spectacle, spirituality, and emotional tragedy this well. No, I'm just done. But I think you know what this movie does that we haven't done in the past movies and books or epics that we've talked about is that great heroes don't just seek glory, right? Achilles, all the rest. Sometimes they just answer the call, and that's kind of what this was, right? Answering the call, and that's what Moses did. That's what this story is about, and I'm glad we talked about it. Now, we're going to continue our journey through the ancient world. Like Justin said, we wanted to move outside of Greek and Rome. So we kind of did Egypt, the Near East. We're going to go continue moving our way over. We're going to go all the way to the East, the Far East. And we're going to talk. I think this is one of the best sort of like myth stories that for the Western world to imbibe. This is not like the best like stories that Asia has to offer, but I think the movie Hero, starring Jet Li, is one of the best at sort of introducing us and having a creative directorial style.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh no,
I
no,
guess
that's
I'm excited because I've never seen it.
ooh. Well,
So
shoot, I don't want to hype it up too much. We just talked about not hyping
no.
it up too much.
So, but I will say along these lines, I got to give a shout out to one of our biggest listeners because they also just happened to get me a book to read. And they're like, you have to read this book. And if Frank hasn't read it, he has to read it. And it fits with what we're talking about. A shout out to Sives, who got me the last Ronin graphic novel, and I'm very excited. And I'm feeling the vibes.
Who wrote that? I think I've read that. Who wrote it?
Kevin Eastman.
Oh, okay. I need to look
Peter
on my
Laird.
shelf. I need to look on my shelf. For some reason, it's ringing a
I'm
bell.
stoked.
Okay.
Very excited.
All right. Well, you read that. We'll watch the Hero, and we'll come back with you next week on that. And like I said, if you like what you're hearing, like what you're listening to, you can follow us, you can like us, you can subscribe. If you want to drop us a note, if there's something you need to correct, something you need to congratulate us on, constructive criticism, all the above, we'll take them all at the Fiction Podcast at gmail.com or hit us up at the Fiction Podcast on Instagram. We are happy to continue or start a conversation with you. With all that,
yeah. Hey, if Sabo's out there listening, you heard us talk about Casey and JoJo. This is your opportunity. You want to come on and sing some Casey and JoJo? Now's your chance.
Well, we have a singing podcast now too. We're just doing it all. Doing it all.
He can do the intro. It could be our intro.
There we go. I like that. See, I like how you work that in. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Well, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.